Gustav Mahler was a Romantic composer and conductor born in July of 1860 to Jewish parents in Bohemia. He is regarded as a bridge between the 19th century Austro-German tradition and the modernism of the early 20th century. The second of 14 children, Mahler grew up regularly enduring opposition and hostility for both his Jewish origins and the nature of his compositions. His unsettling early background eventually gave way to an obsession with death and his everlasting quest to discover some meaning in life. These are themes commonly found in many of his works. Mahler's compositions are relatively limited for much of his life, as composing was a necessary part-time activity while he earned his living as a conductor. After graduating from the Vienna Conservatory in 1878, he held several important conducting posts in the opera houses of Europe, culminating in his appointment in 1897 as director of the Vienna Court Opera. During his 10 years in Vienna, Mahler, who had converted to Catholicism to secure the post, experienced regular opposition and hostility from the anti-Semitic press. Nevertheless, his innovative productions and insistence on the highest performance standards ensured his reputation as one of the greatest opera conductors, particularly as an interpreter of the stage works of Wagner, Mozart, and Tchaikovsky. Later in life, he was briefly the conductor of New York's Metropolitan Opera and the New York Philharmonic. In terms of his compositions, he is best known for his symphonic works and some of his song cycles. His works are divided into three distinct phases. The main works of the first period are the first four symphonies, the Songs of a Wayfarer song cycle, and numerous of the Wunderhorn songs. These symphonies are closely related and the symphonic works are programmatic. The middle period is a collection of purely instrumental symphonies, the 5th, 6th, and 7th, the Rückert-Lieder songs, and the Kindertotenlieder, two of the final Wunderhorn settings, and in some reckonings, Mahler's last great affirmative statement, the choral 8th Symphony. There are three main works in his brief final period: Das Lied von der Erde, the 9th Symphony, and the incomplete 10th Symphony. These are expressions of personal experience as Mahler was facing death. Each of these pieces ends quietly, signifying that his aspiration has now given way to resignation. For this class, I have decided to study Mahler's Ablösung im Sommer, which means the summer's relief, and it's from his Des Knaben Wunderhorn. I will now read the text. Kuckuck hat sich zu Tode gefallen an eine grünem Weiden. Kuckuck ist tot, Kuckuck ist tot. Wer soll uns denn den Sommer lang die Zeit und Weil vertreiben? Ei, das soll tun Frau Nachtigall, die sitzt auf grünem Zweige, die kleine feine Nachtigall, die liebe süße Nachtigall. Sie singt und springt, ist allzeit froh, wenn andere Vögel schweigen. Wir warten auf Frau Nachtigall, die wohnt im grünen Hage, und wenn der Kuckuck zu Ende ist, dann fängt sie an zu schlagen. And now for the word-for-word translation. Cuckoo has himself to death fallen on a green willow. Cuckoo is dead, cuckoo is dead. Who shall us, because the summer long, the time and while pass? Ay, that shall do, Mrs. Nightingale, who sits on a green branch, the small fine nightingale, the lovely sweet nightingale. She sings and springs, is at all times happy, when other birds are silent. We wait for Mrs. Nightingale, who lives in a green glen, and if the cuckoo at the end is, then begins she to sing. And now for the poetic translation. The cuckoo has fallen to its death on a green willow. The cuckoo is dead, the cuckoo is dead. Who should then the summer long help us pass the time? Oh, that would be Mrs. Nightingale. She sits on a green branch, the small fine nightingale, the lovely sweet nightingale. She sings and springs is always joyous when the other birds are silent. We await Mrs. Nightingale, who lives in a green glen, and when the cuckoo call is at its end, then does she begin to sing. At face value, this song is about the death of a cuckoo bird and how the nightingale steps up to sing to the people all summer long. But I think there's a little bit more to the song than first meets the eye. Typically, a cuckoo bird is a traditional symbol of betrayal, and so I think the cuckoo bird represents someone whose love has been untrue. So then now when the song asks, who shall sing to us all summer long, the answer would be the nightingale, who's a beautiful bird who sings beautiful, loving music and is representative of a new love and all its delights.